First of all, I'd just like to say good evening to everyone. I look around the crowd, I feel like I'm at home, so it's no stage fright up here. But this is real informal, kind of open it up to questions and answers. And as far as the '84 team getting together, just like to thank the university for acknowledging a team of 40 years ago. Jim Masters and I were sitting out on the court watching the young kids recently, and it's hard to believe we were 18-year-old kids and in the same spot they were. But Kentucky basketball is special, and for them to acknowledge old men like us, we appreciate it.
Okay. Sam was a senior that year, was All-American, of course, setting the stage for a long NBA career. So we'll throw it open for questions this time. Just go ahead. Yep.
Sam, just the dinner reception last night, what was that like? I assume there were some good stories probably told.
Some stories I would not be able to repeat. But no, when you get our age, all we can do is sit around and reminisce, and the brotherhood that we had back then, I think that had a lot to do with the success that we had in '84. No egos were involved, guys didn't worry about stats, and but the stories last night, some hilarious, some sad. Obviously, God bless Coach Hall, Brett Barrett, Melvin Turpin. So it went from here to there, and but it was a beautiful evening.
Sam, I think people probably, when you came back healthy, expected you to put up crazy numbers, and yet you were more of a facilitator, and Melvin was still back on. Let's talk about how that evolved.
That's a good point. I was just telling somebody 30 minutes ago that I was a second pick in the draft, and I only averaged 10 points a game. I was talking to Coach O. We were out on the floor, and I was trying to tell him that these kids got to realize that if you do what you're supposed to do, you can do this thing for a living and get compensated at it. But I took the fourth most shots on that team, averaged 10 points a game, and but we as a group had a lot of success. So, but that's a good point. You don't have to go out and put up 30 points to be noticed.
Sam, you guys here, you're talking about playing two big guys, you and Melvin, the Twin Towers. Today they're out slinging threes, scoring 90 a game. Just how much has the game changed in that time?
Jim and I, prior to walking to this press conference here, just said how the game has really changed. Everyone shoots threes. You have a 3-on-1 break. Instead of running to the blocks and getting a layup, everybody spots up for a three. The talent obviously has been taught to the point where you cannot just be a straight-up postman. So the game has gotten to the point where someone like me, I have to try and figure out what I'm watching.
Okay, question in the back.
You mentioned this team a little bit, three big guys, and watched them. What do you think of this year's squad, and especially the three bigs?
The three bigs we have, I'm just glad I'm not on the roster because I wouldn't get any minutes. These guys, to see the progress, and I hear that Big Z's back tonight, so we need rim protectors. We need guys to get the ball off the glass and start our transition, because I think Cal's team is built where transition basketball is to our advantage. So I'm excited to see what our bigs look like tonight, but I think come March Madness, I'm a joking when I say this, if we don't win it this year, it's Cal's fault. I know that's going to be the lead story tonight.
No pressure, huh?
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, John.
Yeah, Sam, you guys obviously didn't win a national championship, but it seems like the fans still revere your team as championship caliber. Why do you think that is?
That's an interesting question, because I feel like walking around here in the Commonwealth that they think I'm still on the roster. But the fact that we did come up short and did not get a chance to put another national championship banner up there, all through my pro career, every time I saw Patrick Ewing, I used to tell him he's walking around with my ring, because not you, Patrick, or anybody can tell me that we were not the best team in the country. We just happened to come up and have a half the way we did in Seattle. But I think the people are thinking like Mr. Bowie, that we still were the national champions. So.
Right. Anyone else with questions, Dick?
First game of the year, you took care of U of L pretty well, which was ranked 6th in the country, kind of set the stage. What was that like? I have to think after pickup games and preseason practice, y'all knew you were pretty good. But when it came together that first game, talk about how that kind of set the stage.
Yeah, and for me, I had sat out 2 years, so I was really looking forward to contributing, and I felt like I had let the university down by not being able to play. But we as a team, I'm sure Jim feels the same way, we're very confident. We, ranked top 5 in the country throughout the year, and we just felt as though there's a lot of things that a team had to do on that particular night for us to come up short. So we weren't cocky, we weren't conceited, but we were very confident. I felt that with Coach Hall too. There was a lot of pressure on him, as everyone knows, but we were a very confident team.
Any other questions for Sam?
Sam, and you mentioned the Final Four, but is there another game along the way that stands out as a big memory that kind of captures what that team was about?
Yeah, without a doubt, senior year, when you come through the hoop, the memories, the emotions, knowing that it's coming to a close, all the relationships and all the love that we had as a unit. A lot of times the general public, they just see the ball thrown up and the game begins, but there's so many people that make it happen. And I knew after being here for 5 years that was coming to a close. So my last game here will stick out above. I was blessed to make the 1980 Olympic team and played double digits in the NBA, but Kentucky, my last game in Rupp Arena by far. Jim Masters' turn.
All right. Again, we'll throw it open for questions.
Yeah, I'm better at questions usually, but Sam was great. Sam should have passed the ball to me a little bit more my senior year, I think. And Melvin too, but God bless Melvin. God bless Brett Barrett. So, a lot of special times. Being acknowledged as we all get older, everyone out here, your careers, you get older, you reflect. So, I truly am thankful to the university and first class what they've done for us the last couple nights and keeping us updated. My son's here, so my wife, they're not used to this as much. So my wife's from Cincinnati, and it's all good. So we've enjoyed it. A lot of great memories. Seeing all the guys, not all of them could make it, but just seeing them, a lot of fun for me. And it's a camaraderie. It's like a fraternity back then. Also, being as you get older, being a very small part of an unbelievable tradition in Kentucky basketball, you get more and more pride of that's what I did. So a lot of pride, a lot of great friends, a lot of great memories, a couple bad ones, but all in all, it's been beautiful, I think, for all of us and for our families to come back. Beautiful.
All right, do we have questions? Yeah, go ahead, Derek.
I thought about you guys. You're such a unique position because short of winning a national title, the Final Four is kind of the top. And yet you had such a difficult loss once you got there. Did the loss eat away at you all for a while as far as kind of taking the dim off that? Or was it all, we made the Final Four type thing?
Well, if you're asking, does it ever go away, I would say no.
Yeah.
But, again, we actually accomplished a lot in my 4 years. We won 3 SEC championships. We came in second, I think, in the other one. There you go. And we went to, my teams went to 2 Elite Eights. We went to a Final Four. So we accomplished a lot. We were basically rated top 5 almost all the time. Played North Carolina up in the Meadowlands the day after Christmas. So a lot of great memories, just that we didn't quite get to the finish line on a couple of them. But we had great careers. And I think we have a lot more great memories than we do a couple tough ones, but that was a tough one.
How many points would you have scored with that 3-point line?
If Bowie and Turpin would have passed more, a lot more. Here is a reflection. I don't really think I cared that much for a while about the 3-pointer, and people would ask me. But the older I get, the more games I watch, it's a little tough to watch. It's like, wow. Sam said it, the game has changed so much, to the better, I think. So outside shooting, I think the shot clock was the best invention ever. NCAA should have gone to that way before. But the 3-pointer, I think it's exciting, it's fun. My son, I coach now the 8th grade team at Sayre, and none of them really take 2-pointers. I hope you get the joke. You guys can take a 2-point. You don't have to be out the 3-point line at 8th grade.
Yeah.
So it really has changed the game, I think, for the better. And yes, I reflect on that once in a while when I see these games. I dig.
Lindsay? I'm sorry, yeah.
Same thing I asked a minute ago, just what are your thoughts on this team and the talent they have?
Yeah. As I told Sam, just sitting out there, and we played, and Sam played in the pros. I got drafted. I've been around great players, Michael Jordan, a lot in my career. It's amazing. I know you guys come to all the games to see how big and strong. Even to my son, I said, Leo, it's impressive to me. The young men walk by and you're like, whoa. So, extremely talented. Transition, that was a word used on saying. Transition game, wow. We even talked about, which I'm sure Coach Cal and the rest of his staff do every day, how are we going to get enough playing time for some of these guys? They all have showed, I might be thinking of one that maybe hasn't yet, but all of them have showed wow to me. So that's what they coach. That's what they get paid for. That's what they talk about. But I'm sure getting playing time, getting the right guys in there at the right time. So big deal, but wow, talented. And then Z comes back tonight. Really? I mean, wow. So.
2-part question. Generous donation, why you felt like you wanted to do that? Number 2, how many times through the years have you been asked about the U of L shot?
I'm going to take the last question first. A lot. And I love it, okay? But that brings up another bad memory because bittersweet, that's one of my favorite words for that game. I had a great game. I had a great game before. Our team was right there without Sam Bowie. And a lot of pride there how we really came together at the end of the year. But if there was a 3-pointer, okay, thank you. So I was really shooting well at that time, that whole season, if you follow. But anyway, so a lot, Dick, and it's a beautiful thing. My son or my wife, beautiful thing. So great question on my donation. So there's really about 6 reasons. One, I've had good fortune and good luck. I talked to Mitch about a year ago. Even better things that happened to me during this time. So I was thinking about it, Dick, for a while. And then I thought about education and all this. And so I live here. I played here. I'm part of a crazy tradition, small part. I graduated in 4 years, business. Proud of that. My brother Randy went to business school there. So the education part, the athletic part, I'm a big Mitch Barnhart fan for not only what he does on the court, but what he does off the court. My son, he didn't like basketball until last year, so that's fun. He's into it. We live here, I said, all those things. And I thought it was time to do something, how small it is. I hope it helps the university not only athletically, I hope it helps shows all young men or women that you don't have to be a first-round draft pick, you don't have to be a first-round baseball player, football. You can still be successful in life with a degree from Kentucky and be a student athlete and move on and do good things. I hope that does something for the university. I hope it does something for other people. And I'm proud to do it. Yes.
Reed Shepherd has surprised a lot of people. What do you see in him as a player?
Wow. So I coached my 8th grade team, if I didn't tell you. And my Reed Shepherd's always the best. And what a fabulous player. And sometimes people say fundamentals as a negative, meaning he's not, his fundamentals are, I'm not a great coach like Coach Calipari, his fundamentals are crazy. And he's a crazy player. I mean, he's good, athletic and everything. So he's special. Also what makes him, I think, special, and Coach Calipari and his staff, I tell my young son and the kids on my team, it really doesn't matter if you start. It matters how much you play and how you play when you're in the game. And all those boys all look at him and say, who's always in the game with 5 minutes to go if it's a close game? Reed Shepherd. All these young men are talented. That's what we were talking about. There's so many good players. But I'm so impressed with Reed Shepherd. But more, not only of his fundamentals, how he conducts himself. He doesn't start, but he plays a lot. And when he plays his minutes, he plays them well. So, good question. Yes?
Jim, this current Kentucky team has been criticized for its defense, or lack of it. If I recall, that wasn't your prowess either.
Did you not see the tapes?
What advice would you give this team on that defensive end of the ball?
Well, first of all, I'd give this team no advice. As your first thing was pretty accurate when I wasn't the greatest defensive player ever. But people had to have offense too out there. But I don't think, well, they need no advice from me. They're so talented. And another thing, I know what are we in, late January? Yeah. I think their competitiveness has gotten way better on that end. I would not be worried about that at all. I'm sure Coach Calipari and his staff, they're probably all on him, but they look like they have the competitive fire when they get going. I still think the road's very long for them to continue to improve. So much quickness. Wow.
Okay, yeah.
Jim, we had some fun with the hypothetical 3-point line question. If you did have it then, would Melvin have pushed to be a stretch 4?
Now that is a good question, because he actually was one of the great shooters, great shooting big men. I really mean this of all time. He could shoot it. Well, back in those days, I'd say he could shoot it like a guard. Now all of them could shoot it like a guard, but I think he probably would have stretched out there. You're right. So maybe I wouldn't have got as many threes as I thought. So.
Sam would have too.
Yes, he could do it.
Yeah, Sam was a shooter.
He was a shooter. I think Melvin was even a little better, just so you know. Sam was way better at other things. Melvin wouldn't pass the ball at all. Does anybody really? At all.
You talked at the beginning, you said, God bless Melvin, God bless Coach Hall.
Absolutely.
Just how much do you cherish these moments more when they bring you back when missing those guys?
Well, again, till Brett's son is here and Brett's brother is here. And that's very nice. Tom Heights kind of helped out in getting that. And, you know, come on, guys. We're all getting older and gals. You think of things. And so there's some days I'll tell my son, you don't want to do something. Well, seriously, I mean this as a compliment and a beautiful thing. Brett Barrett doesn't have a decision. You can get out of bed and go to school. So I think about those things. And Brett Barrett and I were very close. He helped recruit me, and I was telling his son crazy stories about recruiting me, but very bright guy. He would send me creative packages in the mail. They might blow up. They might say happy birthday. They might have UK, because he wanted me to come to UK. I don't know if it worked, but we had a lot of really serious fun times. He was a very, very bright guy.
Any other questions? Anything else for Jim? Okay, not Jim. Again, I appreciate y'all. Great to have the team here this weekend. All right, Kenny Walker here. Kenny, of course, was an All-SEC player. He was just a sophomore back on that 1984 team, All-SEC that year. Of course, the next 2 years was All-American and went on to a long NBA career as well. Definitely appreciate Kenny being here. Of course, he's been here in town for several years and is part of the landscape of Lexington, but still great to have him here for an event like this formally. So, Kenny, your thoughts on the reunion?
Oh, man. All great memories, except for the second half, obviously, that ball game. I'm quite sure a lot of other guys have talked about it, but, man, I can't believe that it's been 40 years ago. Doesn't seem like it. Unfortunately, I've seen some of the guys over the course of the last few years when Melvin Turpin passed away and Brett Barrow, passed away, and then of course losing Coach Hall, about a year or so ago, and then of course Melvin, Lake Kelly, who was an assistant coach on that team as well. So I want to recognize all of those people because obviously they can't be here, but they were a part of a special team. 1984 was supposed to be our year. Coach Hall told me several times after his coaching career is over with, he thought that was going to be the team to win it all, and he would ride off into the sunset, led by the Twin Towers, Sam Bowie, Melvin Turpin, myself on the front line, Dickie Bill, Jim Masters in the starting lineup, Winston Bennett, James Blackman, Roger Harden, Brett Berg coming off the bench. I think we had about 8 or 9 McDonald's All-Americans on that team, and this was supposed to be the team. And to get that close to realizing your dream even 40 years later, I still can't believe it. Played a great first half against Georgetown, and then unfortunately somebody put a lid on the basket. It's like a strange episode of the Twilight Zone or something where you just couldn't get out of the funk, and still hurts to this day. But the great thing is last night you got a chance to get with a lot of the guys and the memories and the stories that was told, the fun that we had on and off the court. A lot of people say it's the best team maybe in Kentucky history that didn't win a championship. And I know we were beloved by the fans, and that's pretty evident, that we're back here today. Glad to be with these guys and can't wait to share more stories with them, but more importantly, to walk out on Rupp Arena one more time. It's getting chill bumps thinking about it right now. It's just wonderful places. A lot has changed in this place since I've played here. And obviously Kentucky is the leader in college basketball when it comes to class personified, and the gold standard is live and well with Coach Cal, and this team is exciting to watch. So hopefully they'll win the ball game, because if they don't, they probably won't invite us back again. But hopefully they'll win the ball game and put on a good show for us, and it's going to feel good to be in front of the fans.
Nancy?
Really love this team. Man, they can score. If they ever figure out some things defensively, it's going to be very tough to beat them. This is the best combination of guards that I've seen with Coach Cal in probably a few years. They're awesome. I don't think enough has been said about Mitchell, his leadership. And then Antonio Reeves is probably the most underrated leading scorer in the history of Kentucky basketball. I've never seen a guy that's averaging almost 20 points a game. And when you started talking about this team, you mentioned maybe 3 or 4 guys before you even mentioned his name. So, but you can tell that they like each other. The ball movement on offense is great. And once our big guys, get into a little bit more flow of the game chemistry, understand, especially in the SEC, that it's a very physical league, and they got to be ready to match that physicality. But all in all, love everything that I see about this team. We're not finished yet. I think we got a lot of improvement, and what a big, what a great, I guess, late Christmas gift that we got today with Big Z coming back. So we're all looking forward to that. So I think this team is awesome.
This team gets a lot of attention for its camaraderie, unselfishness. Compare that to your team, because you guys had a lot of big name players.
Yeah, I remember talking to Roger Harden one time. Roger was a point guard from Valparaiso, Indiana. We both came in as freshmen together, and we played all 4 years at UK together. And Roger and I had such good chemistry because we played together, for so long. And I remember the first couple of years, Roger had a tough time going against Dickie Bill, Dirk Minifield, and those guys in practice, and it was very tough. It was tough on me too because I had to go against Charles Hurt and Derek Ward. But I was talking to Roger about it one day. Roger said, "You think that your job is hard?" He said, "I'm a point guard, and I'm on a team that got all of these McDonald's All-Americans, and everybody wants the damn ball, and I got to keep everybody happy." And he said, "That's hard, and the coach is on you." But the reason why I say Roger, Roger went through some tough times early in his career. Roger wasn't the fastest or the quickest person in the world, but boy, he could pass the ball, he could handle the ball, and he was a floor general. When you say extension of the coach on the floor, I admire his way because he worked hard to get that opportunity to play, to earn that right because it wasn't given to him. And by the time we got to be juniors and seniors, Roger Harden, the last 2 years at UK, was underrated, underappreciated for the things that he did from the point guard position of our team. He was our leader. I was the best scorer and rebounder and all of that, but Roger was the true leader of the team. And when you got your point guard that knows everybody's responsibility and what they're supposed to do, it made my job a hell of a lot easier.
Jeff?
Kenny, outside of the big games that everybody revisits and talks about, what's a moment during that season, that team, that stands out to you, that kind of captures the spirit of the bunch?
I got a big smile on my face because you all probably know what I'm thinking. You talking about from the 1984 season? Oh, that's an easy one. I mean, we had a lot of good games. The dream game. The series had just started. We beat Louisville twice that year. That was fun. We beat Houston in a game right before Christmas. We beat Illinois in Champaign, Illinois. Didn't beat them again here in the Elite Eight. So those games were fun. But for me personally, 1984 SEC tournament, Nashville, Tennessee. I've been doing sports talk radio here in Lexington, a post-game show with Larry Glover for a long, long time. And if I had a dime for every time that I get asked this question, what did it feel like to make the shot to make Charles Barkley cry? And they said, you're the only guy in the history of the SEC that made Charles Barkley cry. So for me, I really do appreciate that moment. And every time that I see Charles Barkley, I always let him know, don't forget about this 6'8" skinny kid from Roberta, Georgia. It made you cry. So yeah, that's absolutely.
Anyone else? I got to add an addendum on that. If that shot is on that the pregame, the 2-minute thing. Well, the crazy thing, the crazy thing about it is it looks like it defies physics. It hits the front of the rim, bounces up, and it looks like it hits the front of the rim again, and then crawls over the back of the rim.
That's that backspin.
I don't know what it was, but it was something. Any other questions for Kenny?
Kenny, you obviously have a very, very strong relationship with your teammates.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think, if you had won the national championship, how do you think that would have strengthened that relationship?
Boy, I mean, the personalities on that team was unbelievable. Sam Bowie was coming back from a 2-year layoff. People forget how good that guy was before his injury and everything. And if Sam never had those injuries, we're probably looking at 2, maybe 3 championships, just off Sam alone. So have to mention that. Big Dipper, Melvin Turpin, the most unstoppable offensive forward. With all due respect to Sam, who was great, but Big Dipper could score all kinds of ways. He loved his pizza, loved his fried chicken and stuff like that, but you couldn't stop him on the court. Admired playing against both of those guys in practice because I was going, golly, I'm playing with these guys. I'm just a sophomore. Winston Bennett, enforcer. We need more guys like Winston. This team probably could use a Winston Bennett out there, but I guarantee you we wouldn't get pushed around much then. Roger Harden, flashy point guard. Jim Master, his 3-point shot was in college basketball because he would have a few more points on his career scoring average. Dickie Bill, think of John Wall and Tyler Eulis kind of got married and had a baby or something, you know. You get Dickie Bill and, you know, that type of athlete, just exciting in the open court. James Blackman, my goodness. John Wall, maybe before John Wall. I mean, in terms of athletic ability, I can go on and on and on. But the camaraderie that we had together on and off the court, pretty much, we did a lot of things together. I remember the year 1984 was when Purple Rain came out. Prince, who was my favorite artist. Every guy on the team was there to watch Prince. Little guy in high heel shoes dancing across the stage. It just, you know, what was going on in college basketball at the time. But the camaraderie that we had was just so great. And to overcome all of the obstacles, to get to the Final Four, to get that close, you know, to your dreams and not realize it. You feel bad, but when you come back, you know, for opportunities like this, because usually they only bring back championship teams. So we probably didn't win the championships in terms of the NCAA, but we won the hearts of the people of the state of Kentucky, and we'll be forever grateful for that.
All right, Kenny, thank you so much.